Welcome everyone, my name is Dora Clark-Pine. I'll be your professor for this course, Education and Career Planning, EDPC 554, one of the required courses in your Master's in Counseling degree. So welcome. I'm just going to go over the syllabus in this section, and there are basically 5 things that you need to remember for the syllabus. And the first thing is, or the first requirement are basically chapter reaction papers. The book that you need for this course, one second here, the book that you need is called Career Information, Career Counseling, and Career Development, the 9th edition by Brown. Now, the 10th edition is out, but I have found over the course of time, my observations have been that there's not much movement or significant change that occurs between different editions. The 10th edition is going to cost you a whole lot more than the 9th edition will. I think the current price is around $145, $150 for that textbook, whereas for the 9th edition, you're going to spend maybe $15. Maybe a lot less through Amazon or other textbook sellers because it's an older edition. So you're going to get the relevant information, but save yourself a few bucks. And I'm definitely, I've been a student before, I know how that goes. Saving money is often helpful. So we'll do that. We'll go with the 9th edition. And basically what I want you to do is, as you read each chapter and you do your reaction papers to each chapter, I don't want it to be long. You know, if you can get by with 1 page, certainly no more than 2 pages. Type double-spaced, that would be perfect. 1 page would be wonderful. Just, you know, as you scan through the chapter, find something that hits you, something of meaning, something of significance, something that's very interesting to you, and just provide some reactions to that information. If you stay on track, find something of significance and provide reactions to it, and you stay within 1 to 2 pages, and you turn it in on time, you'll get full credit for the assignment. So it's kind of an all or nothing process. So just stay on track, find something of meaning, and reflect on it. Turn it in on time. That will be worth 30% of the grade, and the chapters will be weighted equally for a maximum of 30% credit overall. Okay? So that's the first part of the requirements for this course, our reaction papers. The second thing is the art project. And what I want you to do with the art project is to come up with a symbolic representation of the forces, the driving forces that led you in the direction of a counseling career. And I want you to use materials that you can find in nature: rocks, sand, bark, you know, sticks, you know, anything that you find in nature, leaves, for the majority of the composition. You can use 3 man-made objects like hot glue, tape, string, paper. Even though paper is wood, it is man-made, the paper itself. So that would count as a man-made object. I want that to be, if you do use 3 man-made objects, I want that to be, in terms of the composition, a fraction of the overall composition. So about 5% of the composition of the piece can be man-made. 95% should be drawn primarily from nature. So make sure you weight it in terms of that distribution. And again, you're trying to symbolically represent what were some of the driving forces that led you to a counseling career. So let me show you, and I'll get close to the camera here. Let me show you an example of what I came up with for this assignment. Let me get close. And hopefully you can see these objects. This is actually a figure. Well, this part is basically a dead plant. It's very dry. There's no life to it. And it's on a piece of wood, bark. The only man-made object I used in this composition was hot glue. That was it. This figure, this person here, is made out of rocks. 3 rocks, basically, 1, 2, 3. Some sticks for the arms, and some sticks for the legs. And it's resting, the 2 feet are kind of balanced on 2 pieces of bark. A little sand is there to kind of cover some of the hot glue. And this person, representing me without any hair, is holding a leaf that is kind of shaped like, almost like a bowl, not really perfectly like a bowl, but like something that could hold something. Okay, and this figure is trying to get close to this dried plant, and I'm pretending that it's raining, and the figure is trying to get moisture from this plant, which is not going to be too successful, because it really isn't, the plant's not going to soak any water in or hold water. It's totally dry. So this person is going to be not too successful in getting much of anything from this plant. And that kind of symbolically represents my family of origin, in the sense that I grew up in an alcoholic home, and my father also had schizophrenia. So it was a very challenging upbringing, where there was a lot of search for ways to satisfy the purpose, finding the purpose in life, meaning in life, finding ways to survive, and ways to find nurturance. And God eventually came into the scene and provided that for me. But this plant cannot provide much nurturance. It's basically dead. And not to say I didn't get any love from my mother and my father. That's not true at all. But they had their own issues to deal with, and their own survival challenges, and that took energy away from myself and my sister in terms of the parenting process. So those are some of the driving forces that led me into the counseling field, is the need to understand mental illness, and finding purpose in life and wanting to help others in turn became important missions for me. And so I ended up finding myself gravitating towards the counseling field as a result. So you want to come up with some sort of symbolic representation made mostly of nature-related materials, and not very big. I mean, 5 inches by 5 inches by 5 inches would be perfect. Very small, just very small, 5 by 5 by 5, very small art project. That's worth 10% of the overall grade.